Hello, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Adrielle. I am currently telling a story of my life dating back from January 2016. If you are not subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe, kindly hit the notification bell, kindly leave a positive comment, and follow me on social media as well. So, I'm going to start the story. This is the very first episode of An Unlikely Story. And the title of the episode is In the Beginning, There Was Love. So, January 4th, 2016, it's a new year. Very optimistic, very hopeful. It was a Monday, so I woke up early, heading to work, excited about the new month, new year, the new day. So I'm driving to work. I get to work, park my car. I also, go into the building. Now, the job I was working at, Paris, um, we would always have this tag on us, like an ID tag, and that's how we would get into the building. So I scanned my tag didn't go through. I was like, okay, this has happened to me before, but that was because my tag was broken. But the tag I had was not broken. So, I swiped it again, wasn't going through. And security came, they were like, you know what, we're gonna check your tag to see what's going on. You can just have a seat right here. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's kind of strange that my tag wasn't working, but I'm gonna see what they're gonna do about that. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I know nothing's wrong with my tag. So the security comes back to me and he says, oh, they sent out an email to all the temps that they were terminated. I was like, wait, what? He was like, yeah, they sent the email out um December. December. So I'm wondering what is he talking about because the last time I went to work was December 30th. I didn't go 31st. So I'm thinking that would be the only day that would make sense that they sent out the email because I wasn't at work. Um, but still, I didn't know anything about that. So they say, yeah, they sent out an email to all the temps that they were laying them off. And he was like, yeah, that's why your tag wasn't working. And I was like, okay. So I'm heading back into my car. I'm sitting down in my car and I'm like, what? Like, are you serious? So when it came to Paris, I waited months and months to get a job in my field after graduation. I finally get it and now I'm terminated. I was confused. So I'm like, it felt like honestly that I was heading back to square one. I didn't know what my life was going to be like. Now at the time I was still working at the group home, but the group home job was just a college job. That wasn't something I wanted to do like full time and for a very long time. I want to use my degree. So, even though I still have a job with the group home, I'm like, yo, I want to use my degree. So, but I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm just so confused. And also, it's like, I'm here 9 to 5, well, actually 8:30 to 4:30. What am I going to do throughout the day? I'm just so confused. So I tell myself, you know what? I am going to use this time to study for the GMAT. The GMAT was something I had um, told myself I was going to do because I said that eventually I was going to go to business school. So I said, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna use this time to study for the GMAT. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do very well, and I'm gonna go to business school, and everything's gonna be all right. So I drive back home. Drive back home. Actually, before I drive back home, I call the temp agency to tell them what happened. Now they say they never got notified about the termination or whatever. So they're going to rectify that or call them to see what's going on. So I head back home. It's like 10 o'clock. I'm up. I have nothing to do. Uh, and I'm just like kind of like sad. Like, man, I ain't got a job in my field. So I take a nap and I probably wake up, I want to say maybe like around 1 ish. And I get a call from the temp agency. The temp agency says, you know, so they did send out an email, but the email is within their software. So there was no way for the temp agency to get that email. And not only that, um, there were temps that they actually kept in the company. And part of my group, I was the only one that they let go. They placed other people in other projects. And so I just started to feel rejected. I was like, man, they placed all the other people in projects and they couldn't find a placement for me. Like, I kind of felt rejected. And the guy says, don't worry if you have anything else got going on. If we see any other job, we're gonna let you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. So I go downstairs. My mom is downstairs and I tell her what happened. And she tells me, every disappointment is a blessing. That shouldn't worry, something better, something bigger and better is on the horizon. So, don't stress about it. That God has bigger plans. I was like, yeah, but I felt low. I felt so low. I felt like nothing, to be honest. I felt like nothing. I felt like confused. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Um, just seemed like I have no direction. I just seemed like I had no direction. So I spent the month of January just applying to a bunch of jobs in my field, not hearing back, or getting rejected, and studying the GMAT, studying for the GMAT, applying to a bunch of jobs. And I remember telling myself that the time I would use to be at Paris, 8:30 to 4:30, I would use that time to study. So I'm not working for a company, but I'm working to get to study for the GMAT and then eventually get a business degree. That was my mentality. So yeah, I was doing that for the whole month of January, but still feeling empty inside. Um, and then it wasn't towards the end that I was like, you know what? Let me actually start reading the Bible like seriously. Because in the past I would read it, but I would do it to like check off a list, and I really wasn't understanding what I was reading. I had like the King James Version Bible. Also, I would fall asleep. Like I feel like it wasn't intentional. Even though I was reading it back then, it wasn't intentional. This time I said, you know what? Let me use this time to actually like read the Bible. So that's what I did in January. Now the month of February came. I had an interview, like a video interview. I'm like, okay, good. This is something. Something's gonna come out of this. I got rejected, and that really did bruise me inside. At this time, I'm still applying to other jobs. I am still um, studying for the GMAT, but still feeling empty inside. I remember it got to a point where, sorry, I'm checking my notes. I remember it got to a point where I was just feeling defeated, just feeling defeated and feeling hurt by me not having a job in my field. Now, at this time, I'm back to attending church as well. But I'm just looking at God sideways, like, why are you doing this to me? Like, why? And I remember there was one night in particular, I was laying on the couch. and reading the Bible at this point. I just started crying under my blanket. I was crying and I said to God, "You don't know how this feels. Like, you have no idea how this feels." And immediately the cross came into my mind. And I'm like, "Okay, Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry." I said, "Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I said that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I said that." You know, but that's how much pain I was in. I was in so much pain. And I felt so rejected and so like, why aren't you answering my prayers? And what's the big deal in getting a job? Like, I was just so annoyed because this is not my first time going through this. Like, I've always waited for a job, and I just got so tired of it. Like, why are you doing this to me? It was just so annoying. But anyways, I got out of my feelings. I'm still reading the Bible. I'm reading the Bible. It's the month of February. I'm reading the Bible, and I remember it got to a point. I was just like, the Bible's actually interesting. I think I was reading the story of Ruth. Yeah, I was reading the story of Ruth, and I was like, oh my goodness, what's gonna happen next chapter? What's gonna like? I was like, the Bible is so interesting. I was like, oh my goodness, I want to read more about it. And I read the story of Esther, and to me, it felt like it was just like it felt like a movie to me as I was reading it. So I just started getting into reading the Bible. I just started getting into reading the Bible. Also, at this time, my mom was encouraging me to go to a youth group that my church had at Rutgers University. She's like, "You should go. You should go. There's a lot of people your age are there." I'm like, "Oh, you should go. You should go." So she kept on pressing me to go. So eventually, in the month of March, I go. I go to this Bible study, and I get there, there's a bunch of Rutgers students. I don't go to Rutgers anymore at this point. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go here. Everyone knew each other. I didn't know anybody. I'm gonna just go. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go. It probably was like the second week I went. Yes, the second week I went to the Bible study. I go to the Bible study, and there's this girl sitting next to me, and we're having praise and worship. And as praise and worship is like winding down, she turns to me and she says, "I typically don't do this." And I was just looking at her like, what? I'm like, what don't you do? She's like, "I typically don't do this, but God said I should tell you that he sees that you are yearning for him, and that he's watching over you and protecting you." I was just like, what? Now, this was like the first time someone has ever done that to me. Like, "Oh, God told me to tell you." That was like my first time. And I was like, how did she? And I knew what she was saying was true, because it's like I was yearning for God because I was reading the Bible more. And I was praying more too as well. I was really getting into the Bible. I was, doing Bible plans on YouVersion and stuff like that. And I was really going into church more as well, going to Bible study with my mom, actually midweek service with my mom. And it was like, yo, how does she know? And I'm like, okay, like what she's saying is really true. Like, God really put that in her heart to tell me. So I was like, oh my goodness, this entire time while I'm just crying and complaining about the whole job thing, God is actually watching over me, protecting me. So I remember after the youth group Bible study, I head home, and I remember I just started crying because I just felt emotional about what was said, and it also was encouraging to me knowing that I'm really not alone, and God is watching me, and He's seeing me through. He knows what I'm going through. So that's what I did in the month of March, this new youth group Bible study, midweek service at church, church on Sundays, spending my own time with God, studying for the GMAT. I'm doing all of this in the month of March. And April comes around. April comes around. The youth Bible study group has this like retreat they go to every year around April, and they were like, encouraging people to sign up and pay. There's a girl in my church who was telling me that, hey, if you want to go, I'll pay for it. I was like, I wasn't ready to go yet because I just started going to this, Bible study, this youth Bible study group. And I just wasn't ready. My mom was encouraging me to go. I didn't want to go yet. I just felt like everything was just so new to me. And so, yeah, I didn't go. In the month of April, doing the same thing, attending the youth group Bible study, attending midweek service at my church, attending Sunday service at my church, reading the Bible on my own, and studying for the GMAT. So I do that all the way up until April, May as well. In the month of June, that was when my GMAT test was scheduled to happen, June 9th. So I am gearing up for this exam. I don't tell anyone about this exam. All my family knows is that I'm studying. They don't know when it's going to happen. I'm typically that type of person where when I'm doing something, I don't tell people. I just do it. Like I just don't feel the need to broadcast what I'm doing. I just do it. So I'm gearing up for this, this exam. It's June 9th. I'm like, yes, I wake up so early. My exam was like probably like around 11 o'clock. No, actually, no, it was 8 o'clock. Right? Right? I think it was like, yeah, 8 o'clock in the morning. It was like a 3.5, 4 hour exam. Happy, excited. I'm like, I'm gonna pass this exam. Then I'm gonna apply to grad school. And then, I'm everything's just gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be okay. I'm making up for me not working. That's really what I was doing. So I take the exam. And the thing with the GMAT, you get your results right away, like right after the exam. I take it, I sit there for 3.5 hours, and I fail the exam. I was like, what? All that studying for months, intensive studying for like 5 months, and I failed this exam. I went into my car. Actually, I drove my mom's car that day. I went into the car and I cried my eyes out. It's happening again. I'm being rejected again. I'm failing again. I just start crying. I get home because the center, the testing center to my house it was like 6 minutes away. I get home. I'm crying in the car. So I cry in the parking lot of the testing center. I get home. I cry in the parking lot too. I get inside. I cry again. I cry again. And my mom, she sees me and she's like, "What happened?" I show her my test results. She was like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't even know you took a test." She was like, "You didn't even tell anybody." I was like, "No." But I was crying my eyes out, y'all. I was crying my eyes out. And she was like, "It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay." She's like, "Oh my goodness, what is going on?" She was like, "Pray to God. We're gonna pray." She's like, "I don't know what's going on, the job thing is not working out. This exam, it's not working out. What is going on?" And I'm gonna stop the episode. I'm gonna stop the episode. I'm gonna stop right here. Okay, I'm gonna stop the episode right here. Next episode, I'm gonna talk about what happened after. Actually, what happened that day? Because some other stuff happened. What happened that day, and probably I'll talk about the month of July, August, and because I really want to get this story up and running. So yeah. So yeah, next episode I'm gonna talk about what happens in the rest of the months. Also, I want to also clarify something too. My preface episode, I remember being asked if I didn't want kids. Now I want to clarify that. In my preface episode, I said I did not want a man who had kids because I wasn't bringing kids into the situation. What I meant by that was that I am not having children out of wedlock. So when a man sees me, he sees me. He's not going to see children. And when I see him, I want to see him. I don't want to see kids. So that's what I mean when I said I'm not bringing kids into the situation. I do want to have children when I get married, but I'm saying I'm not having children out of wedlock. And also I don't want baby mama drama. I don't want anybody stalking me. I don't want anybody's ex that they have a child with to harass me. I don't want that. So that's another reason why I don't want a man that has children. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because I was asked, about that. So yeah, next episode we're gonna talk about the rest of the months of 2016. So yes, if you're not following my channel, no, that's not what I want to say. So if you are not subscribed, subscribe. If you are not, what else again? If you're not sharing my video, share it. If you're not sharing my video, share it with your friends so they can subscribe too. You know. Also, I like your comments. I want y'all to comment on my videos, and and also the notification bell so that you can be notified when I upload my videos. So I'll see you in my next video. Bye.